Okay, today's video is about delayed conditioning. We're going to talk about that coming right up. Okay, so one question we get asked is, I hear you, Cameron, utilize the term delayed conditioning. What is that and why is that different than what I already use? So I'll start off with most systems, including what I used for many years, was called, by definition, simultaneous conditioning. And what that is let's say in here, or I'll use this box for example. This box, I have my odor item in here, and I had my toy in here. So let's just say I had one of those ball delivery devices, or it was, I reach my hand through the side of the box, and then I pop out the toy to the top of the box, or a device pops it out for me. But in here is the odor and your reward item in the exact same location. That's called simultaneous conditioning. Problem with that is your reward item will have or can have an overshadowing effect to your odor. So with delayed conditioning, what we do, the main difference with that is we have, back to our box here, and what I refer to this as, this is what I refer to as a dopamine box. The dopamine box is basically a spot where it's taken from those that know various training systems that are out there in various sport programs. There's a well-known trainer, Bart Ballon, that he utilizes this in just a slightly different way, but the majority of the people who come from that side call this a dopamine box. I just call it odor pays box for what I use. So in this case, I have my odor item in here, and the way that this game works is the dog comes up into this, their nose goes into odor. While they're in odor, they hear the condition reinforcer. So in this case, it's a click. When that happens, all we simply do is drop in food. So the way I would do this is the dog comes into odor. While they're in odor, signal, food. Signal, food. Signal, food. The longer they're staying there, in odor. So they're in odor first, then reward happens. So signal on, odor, followed by condition reinforcer or reinforcer. You don't have to use the clicker if you don't want to. If you wanted just to simply just go, dog goes into this box, while they're in the box, they hear the word yes or free or whatever you choose to do. You drop the food in, yes, free, whatever you choose to do, that's your option. Or you can say nothing and just drop the reinforcers in there. But the biggest thing that makes delayed conditioning is they come into odor first. While they're in odor, then reward happens. So again, the example that I do, and I'll have a video that I'll show, dog comes into odor, again, nose is into odor. While they're in odor, click food, click food, click food. My very last rep is free, and then they get their toy item.
Right, you have to be ready to signal.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of proofing him to me reaching my treat back.
Good boy! Yay! Good job! Let's go! Come on!
So I'm able to have a system in which the dog knows I keep them in that lower threshold. I'm not sending them through the moon, because if I did the toy every single time, that might cause the dog into a over or above threshold level. They're not learning as clearly or as good. They may come up to the box, they want to play with it, fight with it, do whatever, because they're so excited to get their toy item that I have that problem. By utilizing the food in that aspect, while they're in odor, reinforcement happens. While they're in odor, reinforcement happens. This is just one step. There's other steps that are in other videos and on our website. When you go through my online course of Odor Pays, we go through the step-by-step process of what happens next. The food goes away, we go to toy, and we go to hunt. What I also wanted to share, there isn't just that system or that type of context. You can also utilize this context where in here I have my typical pipe. This is a elbow pipe, street elbow pipe is what it's called. You can buy them, you can make them yourselves. It's very easy to make yourself. Then you have a drain cap cover. So what we do here is you put your odor in here. I drop the cover over here to protect the odor item. So now it is simply like so. The odor's inside here. And then what I'm able to do, and this is typically used very well with young dogs, is as the dog comes into odor, puts their nose into here, while they're in here, click, and I can feed. And what you guys can see is I can feed from the back, because in the back of this pipe is a hole where I can reach in and feed. Again, key being, the dog has to come into odor first. While they're in odor, click, and I can feed. Click, feed. Click, feed. So same concept when I get to my last rep, I can say my verbal marker, my terminal bridge, my release, and then give them their toy. So that's another context. Another one is, because sometimes these boxes are bigger, and those that want to know what this is made out of HDPE plastic. It is 10 by 10 by 10 cube with a 12 by 12 base. A friend of mine, Chaz Grinder, I'll put a link to his Facebook page. He makes these boxes and will sell them to you. So this is 10 by 10. The downside to one of this size, he makes one that is smaller, comes down about halfway, is puppies. So my fix for puppies was I could use something of this size, this little right here, and I could place my odor into here. When the dog goes into this, while it's in there, food, click, food, and then if I want to use a toy, I can use my terminal bridge free, yes, give them the toy item, or in some cases, it's jackpot of food. So I can grab all my food, or a handful of food, so it's click, food, then all of a sudden, free, and then I have a whole handful of food that I takes my hand a little bit, they get it, and they get to enjoy the food. So, by definition, delayed conditioning simply means the target, whatever that is, in this case it's odor. Odor happens first, then reward happens, or how I choose to use it, it's odor, conditioned reinforcer, I can use a click or a word, and then followed by the terminal bridge and a high value reward depending on the sequence I'm doing it. But the main point is your target, your odor signal happens first, then your reinforcing signal happens next, or your reinforcer itself happens next. That's different than the simultaneous conditioning, which is when you pair both things together and then you phase the one out. Like I said, the problem with that is the overshadowing effect that the reward item has over the target odor. I want the dog to understand odor is the pathway to reward, not reward the pathway to odor. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions or comments, please drop them down below. And as usual, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.